And in fact, we need to shake off this idea that a degree has anything to do with prestige. Again, it's just like an overpriced handbag. A handbag has a purpose, and it isn't prestige. Education has a purpose, and it isn't prestige. If you start focusing on the actual purposes of things, then maybe you won't be as misled. Maybe you won't be as fooled and misdirected the way that they're trying to do to you. Because again, the education, the learning that's taking place in our schools is top notch, and it's producing people with outstanding skills and acumen. And that's what education is supposed to do. Your degree is supposed to signify that you know something. It isn't supposed to be a banner declaring your class status and your level of privilege. Because again, if you attach high status and privilege to having a mediocre Western education just because it is Western, then you are reinforcing colonized mentalities. You're attaching value to Westernness and giving that more value than the actual value of your education or the actual standard of your education. Like it matters more to you that you got your mediocre education in the West than it matters that it is a mediocre education. Like the mediocrity of the education is somehow trumped by the fact that you got that in the West. That somehow that changes the mediocrity to excellence. Well, it doesn't. And if this attitude persists, we're not going to get the most genuinely qualified people into the positions that they need to be in order for your society to flourish and succeed. You're going to be putting people in positions who worship the West and who belittle their own society and their society's achievements and its history and its culture and its beliefs and its heritage. In other words, you're going to be putting people in charge of your country, of your society, who look at you with the same disdain that the colonizers do. And they're going to run things in accordance with what they think the colonizers will approve of, because they're hopelessly mesmerized by the West, to the extent that they think Western approval is more important than the flourishing of your society and the success of your society. They will actually be opposed to political independence and economic sovereignty, because they hold their own people in contempt. And they think that nothing is good unless the West is being obeyed or being emulated. And that's a massive threat to your society. Really, it's an existential threat. Because, I mean, look, the way the West has run their own societies has resulted in a miserable situation, a catastrophic situation. If you follow them, you will ruin your society the same way that they ruined theirs. And we know that's true because they have ruined theirs. And I mean that quite literally. They're not even reproducing. They're dying out. The way that they've run their societies, run their economies, run their economic and political system has left them with dwindling populations to the point where they're replacing themselves with robots and automation. That's not a successful model. And the fact that it's an unsuccessful model is part of the whole reason why the global economy is shifting out of the West. If you follow their way, they will destroy the East and they will destroy the South the same way that they destroyed their own lands within the next century or less. No, this has to be stopped. Our psychological decolonization is necessary, literally, for the existential longevity of the human race, because the mentality of the colonizers is inherently self-destructive. There's nothing to learn from that, except what not to do and how not to run a society. So yes, it is fundamentally dangerous to hold their education as being better than ours, because it absolutely is not.